This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No. Y'all,
This
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Hump Day, everybody.
Yes.
How we feeling?
Good.
Hump day.
Welcome back. I'm so happy you're back.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
We were texting back and forth. I missed you. I'm
I
glad you're
really
back.
appreciate you. Yeah, like 2 or 3 people wrote me, like my mom, my dad, seeing how I was.
I checked on you.
You did.
If
Everybody
you wanted
did.
some wet ball soup.
Yeah, some matzo ball soup. Wet bread soup.
Wet bread soup in a ball.
That's right.
Because you offered it to me when I had COVID.
Absolutely. It's the best medicine.
I was returning the favor.
Thank you. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Well, hey, we're doing a show here.
Yeah.
Wow, let's get into it. We are learning new details about Jeremy Renner's accident. Police reveal that Jeremy used his snowplow to pull his nephew's car out of the snow, if you don't know. But then it started sliding downhill, the snowplow that is. So he jumped out, but then didn't set the emergency brake, so it started heading back towards his nephew. He tried to jump back in and stop the 14,000-pound machine. We know how that went, but he was pulled under, which left him with 30 broken bones. Jeremy is now at home recovering. That's a good sign. Yeah. The accident happened on New Year's Day at his home in Nevada. Before then, Jeremy posted the video. That's the very same snowplow of him cleaning the snow off. But wow, I mean, it seems like it's going to end well, but 30 broken bones is nothing to. I mean, is he going to be the same action
Absolutely
star?
not.
Yes,
Right. I don't know what's
the same hot.
But I like that he's giving updates to the fans while it's going along, which he doesn't have to do at all.
No, and I listened to the 911 call just because I'm somewhat macabre and I wanted to hear like what was going on. And it isn't like, oh gosh, it's like we have a man under, his breathing is slowing. He is stay conscious. Hey, wake up, wake up. Like his neighbor saved his life, but I mean, he was on the edge. And when you start to go into shock and you're in snow and you need to keep warm, a whole list of things can go wrong. So I am shocked about how serious it was and how good he looks.
Is that a good place to be in the snow?
I wonder if it's hypothermic. It keeps remember how Coley told us about that too?
Yeah.
If you're injured. But in shock, you get really cold. So I wonder if.
Why did they release that videotape anyway, or the sound of that?
I think it's public information.
I know, but maybe it shouldn't be. But anyways, back to Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll ever be the same, but it doesn't mean that he can't recover and still be the incredible actor that he is.
Absolutely.
But I do think it's a wake-up call, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, Erica. I read an article one time in the New York Times and it said, should we take driving more seriously? And what the guy was saying was everybody's freaked out about getting on airplanes and worried about the kind of minor things, but driving and car accidents is a big deal. Jeff, you work at home a lot. We both work with saws. I told you I cut the tip off of my my crock.
Ugly crock.
Yeah, and I mean it's a funny story now, but that could have been a totally different situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nailed that one.
Yeah, little accidents.
So
Little accidents can cause.
I think a lot of people get injured working around the house because you're like, I don't feel like moving the ladder 2 feet. I can reach and get it. I am guilty of this with my Christmas lights.
Me too.
And it's such a thing, all these big things, these existential things we're worried about, but things around our house, I feel like somebody's father's father, but it's really true.
Yeah,
Erica,
I'm with you.
Please save me. I feel like I should be in a rocking chair saying this, but it's true.
No, I mean, you points were made, Al,
Thanks.
and we appreciate your points. Be safe at home and in your vehicles.
That's right.
But, this is one of those times where if you don't believe in anything greater than yourself, you believe that day. Because that is,
Something kept him. You're absolutely right.
I mean, I was sure he was going to lose his leg.
Me too.
I was like, that would be best case scenario for him to lose his leg but keep his life.
I wonder at what point.
I can't believe this.
I don't know why I'm thinking this, but at one point, he really separates his health and his well-being from being an actor. At what point was he like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play a superhero anymore? Like, I wonder when that goes into your mind when something so serious happens, or you're just focused on your family at that point.
I think you focus on survival.
Of course,
No,
but
I would think
like what your life is going to be like. Can I play catch with Lawson now because I don't have a leg?
Yeah.
These are thoughts that people have to have. And
I think he thought he might be dying.
And
That's
the
how
way
I was.
he's updating everyone, like I think it's going to be an interesting interview.
Me too. A good comeback.
To get into that a little bit. Yeah.
A good comeback.
I don't know. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. And check out Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, she told me to watch that.
Good show.
That's
pretty heavy.
Renner's in it?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's the
good.
lead, and it's a pretty good show. All right, we want to say congratulations to Paris Hilton.
Mazel tov. love.
She and her husband Carter welcomed a baby via surrogate. Paris shared this sweet photo of his tiny little handwriting. "You are already super rich beyond words." Oh, it said loved. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. "You are already loved beyond words." Her longtime friend Kim Kardashian reportedly referred to Paris as her fertility specialist, because I guess Kim referred her to the doctor.
Did that baby hand look strange to you guys?
Let's put it back. I wasn't looking at it.
Because Tori and I both looked at each other.
You guys are making fun of a baby hand?
We're not.
Like the baby
Oh, they painted the nails.
No, I think it's just the filter.
Oh.
Because
I don't
her
know.
hands
They
are
look pretty
filtered.
manicured.
That looks. I've never seen a baby. First of all, I don't know. I mean, shout out, but I don't know.
Did they manicure?
I just can't
manicure?
tell.
I think it's filtered.
Filtered?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
I think
probably
it's
a little
manicured.
whatever
It's
things that y'all be putting on those photos that make you look like J-Lo. That's what it looks like to
I
me.
need that filter.
I was about to say, where's that filter? I'd be like, that's ridiculous.
I don't even know how to use that. Delete.
Yeah, congrats, Paris. I love that. Probably not even 5 years ago, like people still were very reluctant to talk about surrogacy and talk about fertility issues, and now it's becoming so incredibly common, so common I can't even get in to see mine. Like, yeah, you might want to call me back, Doc. Roe v. Wade has really put some serious issues onto clinics and states
Yes, it has.
that allow women to have autonomy over their bodies, but that's a different conversation too. So
They get a lot busier, am I right? They get a lot of people going over state lines, you think, to protect their own autonomy.
Yeah.
Good for her.
But I like I like the openness of the
Me too.
conversation, clearly, because so many of us are going through it, and I think that it should be something that we just have an open conversation about.
And think about
if
this.
you feel like
Not only that, she opened the conversation about this and also about the whole boarding school. She has really been a change maker in a lot of ways, in ways I didn't give her credit or thought she could be. So Paris Hill, I made a lot of fun of her. I'm very proud of her. Mazel.
Listen, that's
Really?
big of you to say. Like, no joke. That's
She's
really
changed in my mind, my opinion.
Well, I got to point out, you made great points, and so did you. And me and Al were like, did that baby paint her nails?
Is there a filter for that?
it affects y'all differently, okay?
Yeah. All right,
That's
we're going to
funny.
move on, but congratulations, Paris. Justin Bieber, my man, my rich man, is now $200 million richer. The Biebs sold his entire song catalog to Hypnosis Songs Capital. That means the company will now receive a payment every time one of his songs is streamed or played on the radio, TV, or even in films. Billboard magazine clarified that Justin sold the publishing rights, but not his master recordings, which still belong to Universal Music Group. Justin is now the youngest artist ever to cash in on his entire catalog. Some other names: Bob Dylan sold his for $500 million. Neil Young, $150 for half of his catalog, which is maybe a deal I would cut.
Yeah.
He's a little young to cut a
Seems
deal like that, but
to sell out.
he could have performed in Dubai 8 times and got that money.
If he were offered, yeah.
That was a shout out to Beyonce from yesterday.
Right.
All right.
Well, this is interesting, and I like the clarification that it's the publishing rights and not the masters, because obviously we've had a lot of conversations about artists and their ability to own their own masters. Now, to me, this sounds like one that this is kind of on trend, to own master recording. Sorry, this sounds like this is a trend that is starting in terms of publishing rights, and I think this might be something that we should pay attention to, because we all know that artists aren't making very much on streaming music. It's not the same
so it's risk
landscape, right? So this has to be someone's projected calculations of how much, based on how little they're receiving on streaming, that he would actually receive in the future for publishing, and to be able to retain his masters. So I think this might be something that we're going to see a lot of artists doing, because if you can get a formula of the popularity of your music in the future, how much you could potentially make, and someone's going to give that to you guaranteed up front, and you get to keep your masters, seems like a win-win to me.
It's a totally different world of music that we're in. And it's like, I was talking to somebody yesterday about ticket prices. You know, I grabbed my daughter and her two best friends tickets to a famous R&B artist. It's actually going to be in town on her birthday, so I'm sitting there, and it was the price of a used car when we were growing up, for sure, like a decent used car. And I'm not special in this situation. Everybody I talked to, I'm looking at BJ, our social media guru over there, and he was talking about he wanted to see an artist, and who was it, BJ?
Madonna.
Yeah.
Who was that person?
It's like your whole house has to be rented.
Is that with an M? Madonna?
Spell that name.
I've never heard of it. As fans, I think we're going to have to adjust more than anybody, Erica, because it's not going to be. We changed first. We stopped buying the albums.
Yeah, we don't buy
started
CDs,
buying
right?
singles, and so the artists are like, "Oh, you guys changed. Well, now guess what? That $75 ticket that would have been a great ticket in 2009. Now that ticket is going to be $575 before we get to the second wholesaler's markup, and now we're at $850. So it's a different world.
Does it at all? I hear you, and I think you both are right. It makes monetary sense to look forward and do the calculations. It just rings a little silly out when you think of like Bob Dylan doing it, Neil Young. They're much, much older. That seems like a Bruce Springsteen doing it. It feels like. Does anyone get the ick factor of doing it so young?
He's a pop culture musician. That's popular culture right now.
Right.
If he's called a sellout for that, then he will have to cry all the way to the bank and in the vault because he owns it.
Speaking of crying me a river, Justin Timberlake, like that transition, $100 million.
Oh, wow.
Sold his rights. So
he did it, too.
Biebs could kind of flex.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
how about you? There's a
Think
competition,
about
like a
that.
contract
Think about
negotiation.
that. It was $100 million.
More than Timberlake.
And when Justin Timberlake's music was the popular music,
Late
not to say it's not
90s.
popular, that's a $100 million difference.
Yeah.
Biebs did the right thing.
And with people skimming off the top, like you said, and taking their cut when they shouldn't, cash out.
Too much out.
Yeah, I don't know. Good for you, Biebs. Coming up on DBL, we're talking with actor Jeremy Sisto from the hit show FBI. He even rocks out for us during the interview. Plus, Tori is talking all about the Easter eggs in the Miley Cyrus new music video. Anyway, speaking of Wrecking Ball, Tori's segment, I'm actually next. It's a new year and DBL is all the talk.
Let's get it going.
We had a lot to talk about last year.
I'm flexing every day.
And we're not stopping in 2023. I'll see you guys on the flip side.
Jeff's like prematurely throwing away
Yeah,
all his cue cards.
did you ever see? Sorry,
oh, no.
This is my favorite meme. I can't even. But they swear, and it's like a meme, and it's like this guy, and he goes, and he has his papers like all thrown in the air, and he goes. F this, it's Friday or something. I don't know, I shouldn't even say it. And then he goes in the garbage can, he goes, oh wait, it's Thursday, I need these.
I've seen that.
It's like my favorite meme ever.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a premature throwing up of the cue cards, or throwing away the cue cards. Okay, so I love that Jeff brought up that figure on Justin Timberlake because that really was kind of an apples to apples scenario in terms of the popularity of their music, their demographics, but the difference is Justin Timberlake is 10, 12 years older than Justin Bieber, so if Justin Bieber didn't strike while the iron was hot, he would be in a position where he was getting half too. Right. But Justin Timberlake also came up in a totally different music industry, so that wasn't even a possibility.
Right, people always
Do you
wonder,
still make
like,
money touring? Like,
yes,
will he make, that's my question.
That's where you
And
make
on
your
his,
All
money.
they're
on his
doing-
new music, he still owns.
Yeah, it's just publishing.
So, like, if he goes on tour where you make your most money now, he'll
Right.
be good. That goes to
Yeah,
him.
he owns
I
that.
see.
And then if he creates new music, he's starting another band.
But his master recordings still are with another group, Universal, right?
But he's with Universal, right? He's still with Universal.
And maybe he might
It's
just
with
want to
his
make
current-
different art. He might
Yeah.
be done with it and just like sell. I
Doing
mean,
different stuff.
I think a lot of people have sold their catalog. And we were talking about Justin Timberlake. Don't forget, Justin Timberlake probably got the tail end of that CD era. So he was still selling hard compact discs. When you look at somebody like Metallica or something, you're like, how do they have that much money?
It was
They were
all
selling
albums.
albums,
Yeah.
bro.
Like the Eagles,
hard
for
albums,
sure.
and that's such a
Yeah.
big difference. That's
Yeah.
why they didn't have to tour as much.
Right. Welcome back. Revenge songs. They are in. They are trendy, and they fortunately come with great Easter egg-filled revenge music videos. But Tori, actually, what do all these clues even mean? Buckle up. I gotcha. All right, Miley Cyrus's new song Flowers was released on January 13th, which just so happens to be her ex-husband Liam Hemsworth's birthday. Secondly, the song's chorus mirrors Bruno Mars's song, When I Was Your Man. Liam dedicated that song to Miley when they broke off their engagement in 2013. Take a look.
I should have bought you flowers. I can buy myself flowers and held your hand, and I can hold my own hand.
Those two songs sound pretty similar to me. And get this, fans are even speculating that that suit she puts on, it came from that red carpet moment when Liam told her to behave for once. But actually, it may have just been a random suit, but it's way more interesting that other way. And Shakira recently released a new song that drags her ex, pro soccer player Gerard Piqué. So the two broke up last year, but the couple got into a jam. A real jam. Huh? See, she discovered he was cheating by an empty jar of strawberry jam in the fridge that she knows the rest of her family hates. Now, in the second verse, she says, I'm worth two 22-year-olds. You traded a Ferrari for a Twingo. You traded a Rolex for a Casio. Well, then Gerard made an appearance driving a Twingo and wearing a Casio. I get it. You're leaning into it, dude, but you're still in a pretty sticky situation because of the jam. But actually, these songs have to sting if you're Gerard or Liam, but me and you, we're living for them. We'll be right back.
In the cases of the 45th and 46th president, and now the most recent vice president, the Presidential Records Act has come up a number of times in headlines related to these documents. So what is it, and can someone actually face consequences for breaking it? We turn to these sources here to verify. U.S. Code defines presidential records as materials or portions of materials, quote, created or received by the president or the president's immediate staff, or a unit or individual of the executive office of the president whose function is to advise and assist the president in the course of conducting activities which relate to or have an effect upon the carrying out of the constitutional, statutory, or other official or ceremonial duties of the president. Law since the Watergate scandal, the Presidential Records Act means those official documents and records of presidents and vice presidents belong to us, the citizens, not the official's personal property. The National Archives lays out guidance for how administrations should keep track of these records and hand them off upon leaving the White House. However, Professor Michael Greenberger explains there's nothing baked into the law to force an administration to follow it.
The assumption, I'm sure, was when they passed the Presidential Records Act that once they declared the rule, no president would be so brazen as to say, I'm not going to follow the rule.
That's why there's also discussion of the Espionage Act. Violating that is a crime. So that's what the Department of Justice invoked in the warrant to retrieve documents from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate when they say he failed to comply with the Presidential Records Act.
The Espionage Act says that the president cannot make these highly classified documents available to the public because that would endanger the national safety.
With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Welcome back to DBL. He was a 90s heartthrob, and today he's one of America's favorite special agents. Earlier, we spoke with Jeremy Sisto. Take a look.
Please welcome to DBL Jeremy Sisto.
All right, so it's been 28 years since Clueless. Do you still get recognized for that movie in particular?
Oh, yes, of course. I do indeed. No, it's amazing. That movie has transferred from one generation to the next. It's amazing that it's still relatable despite the differences in culture. But Can you believe that Cher didn't have an Instagram account? I was thinking about
shocking.
That's true.
That's shocking. She was like the original influencer.
I mean, that closet alone, I still dream of having something like that, you know?
But perhaps that's why it was slightly futuristic, so it keeps hitting these next generations.
There's a resurgence. Like, I was in Target the other day, and they have clueless themed, like, chapsticks for girls and makeup bags. And then our babysitter the other day was wearing a Clueless t-shirt. She's 14. I said, have you seen Clueless? Big resurgence. Congratulations.
So what's the craziest fan encounter that you've had?
Well, I mean, just in general, you can see it in so many people's faces when they approach me. They just want to ask me to roll with the homies. I know they do. I give it up very easily now, but they don't want to bother me. I can tell. They just can't help themselves. So I lean into it, and I give them what they want right off the bat.
Yeah,
sometimes I'm wrong, and then it's just awkward.
Jerry, I got to ask, your kids are 10 and 13. Obviously, they don't babysit Sam's kids. But do they get impressed with any of the roles you had, like in Clueless, or anything that you've done embarrass them in any sort of way?
Well, when my daughter was about that age of that picture, she did dress up as her and her friends dressed up as the Clueless characters for Halloween. But she's getting over that. But I think she has fun with the idea that her dad was that ridiculous kid. And my son watches FBI with me, gets very, very invested. Although I think he likes Zico more than me, which is fine.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about FBI. As you said, your show FBI gets millions of viewers every single week. Did you have to go through like cool FBI training for the role?
Well, we did. We did get to hang out with some agents who I'm still friendly with, and get to see sort of how that whole machine works. But no, actual FBI training. We don't actually do the job of the FBI's, which is probably better.
It's called acting, in love. It's called acting.
Right, thank goodness. So your character in FBI has to juggle parenthood and his high-stress job. Do you relate to any of the dad struggles you portray on the show? And why does it look like you're like illustrated? What is this filter that you have on? I feel like you look like an illustration.
It's not on my. I mean, in my camera, it doesn't look like that, but it does. Yeah, I look like a cartoon version of myself. I like it. So what did I say? What do I have in common with? I guess the endless love that one has for their child. I relate to that, and also the love and gratitude I have for the job I have. He has that same thing. He's dealt with a lot of tough stuff over the last couple of seasons, and he's not perfect. He's just human.
Wow, that's so cool that your son watches that with you.
I know.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
I'm like, Daddy's on TV, and he's like, where are Skittles? That's cool. That's cool. Maybe one day. So before we go, we have to ask you about your musical Instagram posts. You released an album back in 2012. Any chances of another album? Because I see a guitar right next to you.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, sure. My alter ego, Escape Taylor, could make an appearance. I've been trying to get. I've been trying to get better and better at guitar over the last couple of years, which is great. I'm proud of myself. But sometimes I find myself now with players that are just so much better. I was with a guy yesterday who said, "Oh, that oven fan is a B flat," and it didn't even sound like a note to me. So I was like, I should probably quit.
Do you think you could play us out, maybe a little something, and grab that guitar?
I mean, it's not plugged in, so it would be. I could show you just the motion of it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's good enough.
Roll it.
Yeah, rolling with the whole
You won't actually hear me, so I'll do like. You can put sound over it later to make it sound.
Tori will make the sound.
Okay.
You do the
Ready?
thing, and Tori will do the sound.
Oh, Lord.
There we go.
3, 2, 1. Sisto.
We're getting my guitar face. It's not great, but I'm
I
getting.
saw the guitar face.
We were hoping he'd come back, but now we're not so
He's
sure.
not coming back. He's gone.
DBL Nation, you can watch FBI Tuesdays on CBS. It also streams on Paramount Plus. Thank you, Jeremy. We'll be right back.
For more than 2 years, millions of Americans masked up in an effort to keep from getting COVID-19. The data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows wearing a mask could help us breathe in healthy air and prevent respiratory viruses while we're in close, crowded environments. But now with lower infection rates, masks are mostly a thing of the past. Some people are saying that wearing a mask for 2 flu seasons has now made us more susceptible to getting sick. So let's verify, did wearing masks decrease our immunity? Our sources are the CDC, Piedmont Health, Dr. Jane Morgan, and UNMC Nebraska Medicine. Now, this kind of question comes from something scientists call the hygiene hypothesis. It's the idea that people who are exposed to a variety of germs in their childhood develop better immunity. Tia Neely, a Piedmont family medicine physician, tells us our bodies maintain a memory that if we are exposed again in the future, we are ready to fight that infection. And according to Dr. Kelly Cockott with UNMC Nebraska Medicine, it won't matter how long we wore a mask, our bodies will still protect themselves.
In general, our immune system responds quickly to new pathogens. It doesn't weaken over time. And if you've been exposed to other viruses, again, thinking about RSV or something like that's more familiar to people like chickenpox, right? If you've had some exposures in the past, your immune system doesn't forget that all the time.
The experts say even while we are all masked up, we still made it to the grocery store, got out there and walked the dog, or headed out in other ways, which is enough exposure to outside bacteria for your body to function at its best. But what about children who may not have been in school or who were born during the peak of the pandemic? Here's what Dr. Jane Morgan had to say.
When we began to remove our masks, certainly it contributed to the rebound of RSV, not because there was more RSV, but because there were more children who had never been exposed to it. And so now it spread more widely than it would have previously because those children would have had some immunity. So in other words, it caught up in 1 year with 2 years of infections.
So we can verify that's false. Masks did not decrease our immunity.
Republicans now have control of the House of Representatives, prompting immediate curiosity about what kinds of policies they might propose. Verify viewer Michael wanted to know if it was true that one proposed policy was a national sales tax. So, Michael, let's verify. Here are our sources. Right now in America, sales taxes are only implemented at the state and local level. The federal government gets most of its money from income tax. But a bill recently proposed by a Republican congressman from Georgia would abolish the income tax, as well as the payroll tax and the estate tax. It would then replace them by implementing a national sales tax with an effective rate of 30%. For comparison, the highest sales tax in the country right now is in Tennessee, and that's roughly 9.5%. Similar bills with the same name have been introduced numerous times before. None of the last 4 versions ever went so far as a vote. But we can verify, yes, there is a proposed bill to institute a national sales tax. However, even if this one received a vote and passed the House, it would have to get through the Democrat-led Senate and signed by President Biden. Biden said in a speech that he would veto the bill if it got that far. With your Fast Fact, I'm Casey Decker.
If you're looking to renovate your bathroom, here are some essential design choices to keep in mind. We're talking about it in today's tips, sponsored by Jacuzzi. First, keep things tidy to create a relaxing bathroom. Next, keep your lighting functional and bright. And finally, consider using a darker shade of paint to create a more peaceful setting. If you want to start your remodel, Jacuzzi can help you do it the right way. Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process. Visit JacuzziBathRemodel.com or call 800-523-1523.
Jacuzzi, low lights, nice sconces on the wall.
Sconce?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that wasn't in the script, but good ad.
Just for me.
Good ad.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Sconces.
I like a nice sconce.